So you may recall a little while back, I set the goal of completing our Layton Trophy Cabin Lodge by the end of 2024, and frankly we're really close as is. There's only 3 slots in this entire lodge that don't have a diamond or rare in them, those being our roe deer, wild boar, and coyote. The thing is though, we've all seen these Sooner Baton reveals, whether it's the map itself, the species list, everything looks incredible, and I can absolutely see a future where we're spending a bunch of time over on that map and not here working on these final spots for our lodge. So in advance of the release, I figured we better get back out here at least one more time, head over to Hirschfelden multiplayer, and try to target those last couple trophies. And go figure, the first thing we encounter is a pretty decent road here. He's got to be right on the precipice of max weight estimate, 66 to 78, horrible angle, but with his head up, I bet we can sneak that shot into the neck. Gonna have to time it just right though. Okay, now he's going again. That's gonna work just fine. And you guys know, we've been working on this lodge for quite some time. In fact, over a year now. And despite a couple of trolls, these last ones have been evading us. So to perhaps appeal to Hirschfelden's good graces, I've gone with a only base game loadout. We've got the 338, the 270 Warden, of course the 243, and the 12 gauge Cacciatore, and even beyond that, I decided to wear base game clothing. We've got the old orange outfit, which you can barely see, but I think if I aim down sight, you can see it on the sleeve there a little bit. Maybe Hirschfelden will look down upon us and give us something good. And I do want to say, unless we shot him in the skull, our first kill should be a gold. Gold indeed, 67.62, got the jaw, but we avoided the skull and kept our gold medal. He has 29 kilo as well. Just barely avoided messing that up. So hopefully that's going to be a sign of good things to come. And it is in this server about 9:30, so most early morning feed zones are about to end. Probably going to be looking for a number of tracks here until roe deer drink time starts. But however we got to find them, that's what we're going to be after today. That is the weirdest looking fallow deer. I mean, it's kind of realistic in a way. But I've never seen since they redid the Truax. That's wild. Super, super narrow. We're definitely going to try to get that. It's about 250 away. We do have the 270 Warden, but I think we can line that up just maybe a little low zeroed for 300. That should work just fine. If we didn't already have our piebald on the wall, that would be a really cool placeholder. I don't think we're going to end up taxing that, but I mean, we've shot just in the fallow grind 60, 100 fallow, hundreds, you know, in different places since then. Never have I seen one like that. And by the way, I'm not sure how we didn't hear that shot. The fallow was right up there, but another decent looking roe deer, similar estimate, and this time we'll get him to go alert, and hopefully we can just drop this shot right into the heart. I thought he was gonna maybe not even fall all the way over, but the fallow is not gonna have run that far. His health was actually going down surprisingly fast for a 270 shot at that range. But we don't have to track multiple things, so we'll grab this guy real quick. And you saw that fleeing wild boar, especially this time of day when it's not an ideal zone time, at least for what we're after. We're going to be going and checking for tracks on those types of things too. 67.67, pretty well center punch the heart there, not too bad. 28 kilo for him, and I gotta think, yeah, there's our fallow laying right at the edge of the field. How did that roe deer stay? There's the impact. The roe deer couldn't have been, I don't know, 30 meters from it. He must have just barely been like beyond the range to actually spook, but look at that guy. That is bizarre. He's 203. He's 203 score. There's something extremely derpy about that. I said it looked realistic from the side it did, like the way they bend back. Maybe not quite as much here. I'm sure there have been fallow that look like that. That is not something you see every day. Definitely gonna get a couple of screenshots of that before we leave the harvest screen. Now I think that's basically the same rack as the one we just shot. Normally I'd probably just ignore something like this, but I'm really curious. What will this guy score? And if the weight's gonna be about the same, I'm going to assume that's the same rack. So that should get him with the 270. And by the way, we're going up to one of my favorite spots for just feed and rest zones. There's boar, fallow deer, red deer, obviously roe deer up here too. It's just up here like around the windmills and Petershine. When we get to this time of day, it's one of the first places I go and check. to get tracks. And those fallow were still kind of hanging around. They got... Actually, I'm surprised they were still there. The zone ended 18 minutes ago. There probably are some late zones, but they may have just been going to leave when we took that shot. But the important thing, is this the same basic frame? I'm pretty darn confident. Yeah, he's 89 kilo, 218. So you can see how significant, like, spread credit can be. That was about the only difference. I'm sure there are minute differences, but the main thing was just how squashed down that other frame was. He was 203. When you end up shooting something that scores, you know, much higher than expected or much lower than expected, a lot of times that's the difference. And when you get into the, like, you know, 270 red deer and even 270 fallow deer now, you need that little bit of additional spread credit. And it's cool to kind of see, like, how big of an impact it could actually have. What is going on today? Of course, we spooked that one. That's like the widest set fallow of all time after the narrowest earlier. Pretty confident even the first shot would have been good. And actually, I was coming down here kind of just to pass through and maybe check for bison. We've had a couple of rares through the course of this series. I think 3 actually, all piebalds. And of course, our gold male piebald is on the wall. But yeah, there's some taken off there. And the main thought was just gonna check around the lake, see what's drinking here, and continue looking for tracks leading to feed and rest zones. And of course, we end up with another wacky looking fallow. Now these we did get a couple of times on the fallow grind, but not that often. He's a 206. Just about as flat, like the beams are at the level of his ears all the way out. That is a weird looking fallow deer for sure. Probably gonna do the same thing and get screenshots of that one. That's a bit of a bummer. 62 to 74. We got this max estimate track, and I was hoping for maybe something a little bit better than that. The couple of not even max estimate 2s we shot before at least had a better estimate. Well, just okay. It was almost road deer drink time too. So now, of course, we get to basically start all over checking these kind of spots again. And there's no servers that are open in the afternoon. This is another morning server, and we've got another road deer in its feed zone. I'm kind of tempted to shoot a goose instead, but we'll get that guy. And I don't think there are any good ones, but just in case there was one maybe hiding like down below or just in the corner where we couldn't see it, it's worth trying to spot. That was a male pheasant, but I'm gonna guess we got the tracks. There were a whole bunch back there. But regardless, we kind of get going fresh on a new server, this time with just a silver road deer, but it's not even 9 a.m. So as far as road deer drink time, it's forever away. We did get host of this one, so at the very least, we shouldn't be getting booted out. That's a pretty big looking fallow. What do we have out there? That's a 5. I think that might be a diamond. 222 to 264. We've been trolled once or twice by fallow. I wouldn't be opposed to considering a diamond on the wall as opposed to that little piebald. And actually, the other thing, we have 2 piebalds. If this guy makes it, maybe a huddle fallow mount. So obviously with the 270 Warden, even though we made a shot at that distance before, we're gonna get closer. Wind is not great, but maybe just to this hill. That'll work. We'll have to take our time so the wind doesn't end up spooking them. I don't know though. With a wide set rack like that, we talked about it earlier, I think that's got a real shot. So we're into about 120. Yeah, that's a good looking fallow. We've seen a lot of diamonds obviously in the last year. I feel pretty confident about that. So we're 0 for 150. Let's stand up. Obviously we got his attention before. Still attentive. As soon as he lifts his head, let's just drop that in there before he can turn. We definitely got vitals. Do we have a potential diamond fallow for our lodge? I really hadn't considered what to do about that if we ended up finding a diamond. I think we may have just found one. Looking pretty good from this angle. I feel like, I don't know, maybe mid 250s is about what we could be looking at there. Gonna cross my fingers as we confirm here. Diamond fallow, 257. Perhaps a blessing in disguise, getting disconnected from that last server. That is pretty cool, and it's funny, like, we had the really narrow fallow, we had the super wide fallow, kind of, you know, looking at the different spreads and stuff. This guy being wide set, I think that's what makes a difference over, let's say, like a Troll 5. That is really, really cool. So yeah, we'll have to decide what we're gonna do in the lodge. there's a number of different options, as I kind of laid out there. I'm so thrilled to get that, though. Anytime we come to Hirschfelden, if we can manage to get a diamond or a rare of anything, I consider it a huge success. I love the challenge of maps like this, even if we are getting disconnected and stuff. Even, you know, basically a small diamond fallow feels like such a huge accomplishment. That is awesome. So now it's 9:30. Got a diamond fallow, and we're kind of back where we were towards the beginning of the video. Going through, that was interesting, maybe passing by a couple of lakes, and trying to find tracks going to rest zones. I mean, not that that's what we're after, but if we're gonna have roosters fly right past us, we might as well make use of having the 12 gauge today. That first one we got pretty well. The second one might be tracking it for quite some distance, but I think this one was at least maybe a chance of being a gold. 14.04 silver, but he has the molting variation, and then that other one's just gonna be a level 1 silver. And I guess in reality, not that bad. Medium bleed rate. Ended up going, I guess, couldn't have been 500 meters. We must have picked up his track earlier. But either way, 1 pellet in the wing the first time, 2 pellets in both wings the second time, and a 12 scoring pheasant. I don't know if we need the luck anymore today. We've already gotten our diamond. You know, this entire hunt, we actually haven't gotten the opportunity to use the 338. And I'm thinking we're going to head back to the lodge with our diamond fallow deer here shortly. So why don't we try to get this guy to maybe turn broadside? That'll work. If we can line a shot up here around 100 meters out, hopefully that's going to be into a lung. He went aggressive either way. I'm not sure that I actually made it. And did he stop being aggressive? He did. Fairly confident that's going to get him at least. And just making use of our entire loadout before we take our trophy fallow back. So this guy is a 108 scoring silver. Wow. That was perfect. Just between the lungs, it's far enough to have hit along, you know, on either side, and barely stopped short of the heart. Not too upset with that, minus the fact that the 338 couldn't quite get it done, but fortunately, we were able to get it done with a diamond fallow, and I think it's time to go and take a look at it. And so while we didn't get one of our 3 missing trophies, I think this is going to be a pretty nice upgrade, and maybe a good opportunity to talk about why generally my standard for the main lodge is gold rares. My thought typically is that a diamond of whatever that species may be on the wall instead just kind of fills that space, fills that plaque a little bit better, and I think that is the case here with the fallow deer. Obviously, fallow have huge antlers. Getting a diamond there is pretty nice, so eventually, if we can get that trophy roe deer over there, that'll really make this wall look good. I'm so stoked with that. Of all things to get that we had already, you know, gotten a trophy over on Hirschfelden, getting a diamond fallow was maybe the best case scenario, and hopefully next time we can improve on those couple things that we still haven't gotten the trophy of. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.